What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here, Real Estate Blitz. You know, I figured I'd do a quick video with a buddy of mine, Tim. Say hi, Tim.
How you doing, everybody?
And he's with Alliance Escrow, and we were actually just sitting in here having this really cool conversation, and I stopped him and I says, dude, we need to just get this conversation. I wish I could record a lot of the conversations that I have with people. We need to have this conversation on video while he and I are just talking, and then you guys can just sort of listen in. It's a good one. So we're just going to keep talking. You sit there and watch and enjoy it. So what we were talking about, just to give you a quick synopsis, it started off with, you know, we just got done with some training with our team here with Kim Steele and Associates, and we were going into, you know, talking about farming and this is what we could be doing. And then it started adjusting to where, you know, Tim was talking, we started talking about other agents, like top producing agents that we know, and different things that he's learning from sitting in, communicating, talking, different events that he's gone to. And, you know, a lot of you know, I'm getting ready to go to the Tom Ferry event in Vegas. And I just think it's interesting as we're talking, people that, the people that I meet that are producing, the people, and when I say producing, I don't mean just in real estate, I'm talking about any business. It's much bigger than them just showing up and being smart. I mean, it really is. I think a lot of people think, well, some people are just naturally smart. That's not true at all. People that are really doing extremely well with a business, they're usually reading their asses off. They're reading a ton of stuff. They're listening to everything. They're getting around other like-minded people, or what I used to always say, even when I was dating, I call it a meet me or beat me mentality, which is why I ended up with my wife. If you're not at my level or above me, I'm not interested in dating you. It's just not my thing.
What's that saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room?
If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Absolutely. And I think that's what it is. And sometimes people get frustrated with me because they're like, hey, you got a business card? And I'm like, no, I don't. And it's not that I'm being mean. It's just I don't want to always have to give my energy. I want to be able to receive mutual energy. That's why I like hanging out with guys like Tim. So we were literally just sitting here having one of those conversations, and I've never seen one of those conversations take place on video. So I'm going to go back to the conversation. Hopefully you guys get an opportunity to sort of just listen in, and you can see kind of some of the stuff that takes place. He's already mentioned a few gems where I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Yeah, I got to think about that. So
yeah,
anyways.
So where we were talking about myself as being an escrow,
right,
and wanting to learn more about what realtors do.
Right.
I've been trying to put together meetings with higher level agents.
Right.
People that, whether I work with them or not, is at the end of the day, do I want to? Of course I do. But that's not my end game. My end game is the knowledge, and to be able to pass that knowledge.
Because the more you know, the more you're gonna, you're gonna spin up anyway.
I can pass that knowledge down to the agents that want to get to that level and help them get there.
Right.
And you know, some of the meetings that I've sat in, the one I mentioned earlier, we don't want to mention any names.
Right.
Well, everybody in San Diego would know who they were.
Right.
Just to sit there and absorb for 3 hours, I probably said 5 words.
Right.
But just to sit there and take all that in and just realize that, is it hard work? Yes, but the reward at the end of the day is so massive. And to see these guys on that level.
And it's so cool when you meet people that are just on that different level. I went out with one of our agents, Don. Don has this new client, $10 million buyer. He actually buys, he's got way more than that. And I remember Don asked me to go because he's buying a bunch of land parcels right now. And he owns a car wash business, which is funny. Wrap your head around this, 55% return on investment per year.
Wow.
Annual return, 55% annual return. He has one right off of Jefferson up in Temecula. So you know the big goofy car wash that's being built right now, it's going to open here in about a week or two.
Okay.
It's massive, but he's basically trying to buy up more land. So this guy's smart, man. Instead of a lot of car washes, what they do is they're leasing the land, right, and then they're building or whatever. This guy is actually buying the land, sort of like the McDonald's model.
Right.
He's buying the land, building it, and then creating this process, understanding that where he's buying right now, these are places that are getting heavily developed or underway for development. So he's still getting it at a fraction of the cost of what it's going to be after that property is tapped out for use.
Right. So
the guy's a genius. So I go with Don, and I think I'm pretty smart, especially when it comes to bigger development deals, things like that. I know a lot. Don is like, yeah, this is Chris. He's hanging out with us today. Chris does a lot of EB5 money stuff, which, you know, I know a lot about EB5, and I've worked with a lot of guys that do mixed use, multi-use. And the first thing out of this guy's mouth is like, oh, so you work with a bunch of broke people. Right. So if you know what EB5 money is, and this guy, so this tells you kind of the beginning level. This guy, he's in his late 70s, older dude, and he's like, so you work with a bunch of broke people, and I'm like, all right, well I'm gonna shut up. I got to spend. They flew in from LA, just into Temecula, just to hang out with us for the day to go look at a whole bunch of land parcels.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a whole day of me shutting my mouth, listening, learning, and then asking more questions when the opportunity presents itself. Next thing you know, we're sitting at Siggy's, we're eating. This dude ordered like 5 or 6 different things. I'm sitting there I'm so unhealthy. I bought a whole bunch of bacon and just got ranch, and I'm sitting eating bacon. And
that probably went over a little weird.
yeah, and this guy is just dropping gold.
Just knowledge like crazy.
Gold the whole time. Now, what's funny is one of the land parcels that they really were interested in, the broker on that land parcel met us at Siggy's and immediately showed up and started doing what this guy hated. The reason why he wants to work with Don is because this arrogant broker showed up.
Yep.
He knows everything. He's done everything. He's just real smug. And sure enough, this guy, and he has no idea who's sitting across from him.
Exactly.
This guy is a multi hundred millionaire. Hundred millionaire.
Not quite the B yet, though.
Right, not quite the B, but pretty damn close.
Right.
Right? And this guy's just being a prick. And he says, that's why I don't work with people like that, and that's why I like working with you, Don.
That's awesome.
You know, but just sitting around people like that. So you also mentioned, you know, as far as some of the education that you're doing Mike Ferry and some other things.
I go to all the big conferences, and I go and I just sit and I'm just a sponge. I just take it all in. I take crazy notes, and I'm there. I'm not a realtor.
You share a lot of notes too with.
Yeah.
So,
I actually take the notes that I take at the conventions,
mm-hmm.
and I spin them off into my own, not a presentation if you will, but I just basically put my notes, instead of handing out my chicken scratch,
right.
I turn them into a PDF, and then I'll have conversations with people about them and give them to them, and if they ever want to elaborate on that, they can call me. But there's just so much information out there to make yourself a better anything.
Right.
You know, not just real estate, not just lending, not just escrow, just in life in
Just
general.
a person.
I just, on Facebook yesterday, somebody posted the 14 books that Elon Musk recommends.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you those books are selling like crazy right now.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to read those? And oddly enough, his number one was, I believe his number one was Ben Franklin's autobiography.
Hmm.
And just a couple days previous,
Ben
and
Franklin was a beast.
I can't remember who it was, but I heard somebody else on that level of success say the same thing. It was Ben Franklin's autobiography.
Wow.
And as far as reading, I was never a reader. And somebody put, God, what's everybody considers it Sales Bible. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Sales Bible, man. There's
Oh my
Carnegie.
God.
There's a lot of Carnegie stuff. I'm trying to think of which one you're talking about. I can't remember her name either.
It's the story 3 Feet from Gold is in it. I'm drawing just a complete blank.
That's all right.
Anyway,
I'm sure it'll pop up.
so I was never much of a reader, and somebody puts this book in front of me, and I read it 3 times before I picked up another book.
Wow.
It just got me.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I read a lot, way more than I ever thought I would. I try to put in 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Right.
In the morning before I get my day started. It kind of turns my brain on, and it gives me something to talk about.
Right.
Right now, I happen to be reading The One Thing.
Good book.
I've read Living with a Seal.
Haven't read that one.
It's awesome.
Pretty good.
Awesome. It's more of a mind over matter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just finished a book this morning. So this is kind of my routine. I wake up in the morning, I'm usually up, I'm not one of those 4 a.m. kind of people, I'm just not. But I'm up at 6.
Mhm.
Usually I try to wake up at 5:30, but at the latest 6. Right away, before I even get out of bed, I put in my headset and I turn on something positive.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Just got me.
Oh, Think and Grow Rich is a fantastic book. Yeah, so I was right. Carnegie book. That's the first thing I do. As soon as I put in my headset immediately, and it just gets me up,
Mhm.
it gets me moving, and immediately puts my mindset where I need it to be. So I listen to a positive podcast of some sort in the morning.
Right.
And there's quite a few that
Oh.
I kind of bounce around.
Right.
I do listen to a lot of Dale Carnegie stuff.
Yep.
Zig Ziglar in the morning, or I'll
Mhm.
do Lewis House in the
Yes.
morning. I'm a big Lewis House fan.
Yep.
There's one that I've listened to. It was with Rob Dyrdek, and
Really?
I listened to it. And you would think he's a pro skateboarder. I don't really have anything to relate to that guy. I've listened to that probably 20 plus times.
Wow.
That one interview, look, I got old goosebumps.
Yep.
Look at this.
Yep.
It's probably one of the best interviews I've ever heard.
I
and it motivates me.
I listened to one with, I believe it was Tim Ferriss. The other day.
Oh yeah.
With Vince Vaughn.
Have you watched the Tim Ferriss one on TV?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that right now.
Yeah, I watched the one that he did with the guy who started ESPN.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
really good.
yeah, to listen to Vince Vaughn, because that's all we think about is Vince Vaughn, the funny guy.
Right.
It was really, really good. I mean, I got a lot out of that.
Well, I think anybody that succeeds, there's a process for it, and everybody that succeeds has to go through the struggle. It's sort of like, and the way I equate it to a lot of our agents, you don't show up and say, I want to be a professional bodybuilder, and you go to the gym once and you're a professional bodybuilder.
Right.
Like literally, you're talking about years of suffering,
Right.
years of sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're a bike rider, and I used to be big into martial arts and things like that. You don't just show up and
No.
be what you want to be.
You don't just hop on the bike and ride 100 miles.
It's a struggle,
No.
man.
Yeah.
And it takes, changing your diet, changing your sleep patterns, changing, your mindset probably is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Mindset for anything that you want to become a pro at.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, the reading and studying and being around energy and I think the reason why we're building our team the way that we are is we're trying to build energy into us, into our organization from the start.
Right.
So it'll grow that way. But I just finished 10X by...
I have it.
Yeah, great book. I just finished that one. Grant Cardone. And he actually mentioned in that book that every successful person, to include himself that he knows, Warren Buffett is a huge one. He reads 6 hours a day, spends most of their day reading, spends most of their day consuming information.
Yep.
And that gives you, with the consumption of information, gives you more of an opportunity to adjust or see things outside of the norm. And so what you guys missed is when we were talking about some other people in the industry. Oh, excuse me. Somebody actually complimented once.
That was that bacon, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was, yeah. But we were talking about, just how these guys, they communicate and get around each other and the being able to see the different angles that other people aren't seeing. And I think a lot of that attributes to just that routine and that deep burning desire to learn and be around positive people and be around other people that are kind of doing it and be at a level that's higher than yourself whenever possible.
And one of the things that I've learned recently, and speaking of the meeting that I was in with these two guys, is they're two of the bigger producers in San Diego County. And never did I think that I would be sitting at a table with the two of them. And a little piece of me actually thought, would I even think the two of them would be sitting at the table together? Because while they work for different companies, they're big producers, they're almost competitors, but they'll sit there and share ideas with each other. I mean, I was blown away at the things that they were asking each other that the other was willing to answer.
Right.
It's like, well, how do you handle your ISAs in this situation? What do you do about this when this situation arises? What are you doing about... And they were just sharing like crazy, and it's so counterintuitive to what you think it would be.
Right.
But there's also a reason why they're on the level that they are.
You're 100%
because
right.
they sit together with
because
each other.
they do that, and that's why I think, and you heard it when we were in a meeting, I really dislike most real estate agents because they don't get that, they don't understand that. I started as an investor, and investors, they realize that they're going to either make money with you or it doesn't matter anyways. You're not going to affect their business. It's not like you're a competitor,
Right.
And I think top producing people that are producing or people that are on the rise usually understand that, and they have no issues with communicating because they realize it's a mutual exchange of energy. And for us, one of the big ones when we started hanging out with David Serpo a lot, that mutual exchange of energy has taken his business to completely another level, and it's taken our business to another level as well. In the beginning we were only 4, now we're pushing 20, going to 30 agents, and our goal is everybody is producing on the team a minimum of 2 to 5 deals per month, which is a huge.
It's a lofty goal.
It's a lofty goal.
You'll get there, though.
Absolutely.
You'll get there, people there.
So I think I have to absolutely 100% agree with you. I want you to get some time with the agent, so I'm going to cut this a little bit short.
But
Actually,
let me just say one more thing is that don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions of people that you wouldn't think but want to spend any time with you. Because believe it or not, especially with the way things are today with video, podcasts, Facebook Live and all that, these people want to share what they have. That's what they do. Whether their intent is to share it with you as an individual or not, maybe that's not what it is, but all I did was pick up the phone and call those guys and ask if they wanted to get together, and they did. I was blown away.
That's awesome.
And one last example is I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And there's been a couple of them that the content of the podcast hit me. It impacted me. It made me think. It made me feel certain things. So I would pick up the phone and I would call the guest of that podcast.
Right.
And regardless on what level that podcast audience is, this particular one came from a massive podcast that has a huge following. And I called this person, who was a real estate agent in a different part of the country.
Mhm.
And I couldn't get her off the phone because she was, one, kind of surprised that I called from San Diego, asking her about her business, explaining to her what I do and why I wanted to talk to her. I wanted half an hour. She gave me 3 hours.
Wow.
And basically just put her whole business model on the table for me to
That's cool.
to
Man.
take advantage of.
Yeah.
And I've shared that with several different people, and some of the little tricks and ideas that she has, and nobody's implemented it.
And that, that always trips me out. You give somebody something and they just don't implement it.
Yeah.
And it's so simple and it works so well.
And a couple of the things were so minor in effort,
Mhm.
and the amount of return that she says that she's getting from some of these things, it's insane.
Hmm.
So I hope to do this again, and I could share a couple of those things with you. Thanks for having me on board.
Appreciate it.
And
Yeah.
we'll talk to you soon.
And actually, Tim here in the future is going to be helping us out. He and Justin are going to be helping us out because I told you, I'm going to pull the trigger. I've already, I've reached out to Tony Salgado. So we're going to be standing up the podcast. And we're
Nice.
going to be doing it through him, so that way they can do all the editing.
Oh, you're setting up
and everything.
ViralCast.
Yeah, so
Nice.
we're going to do it through them.
Nice.
And I've just been sort of waiting until the time was right.
Mhm.
I thought we were going to slow down in the summer, which we usually do, and we aren't. So I'm like, you know what? There's no good time. There's no good time. So once I get back from Summit in
Awesome.
Vegas,
Okay.
I'm kicking it off. I'm
Nice.
going to start the podcast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully I can get Tim and Justin to be one of my sponsors.
Absolutely, we can, as long as we're allowed to.
So, hey, KSA Kris here. Appreciate it. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. A ton of people are jumping on the YouTube page. So if you're one of those new people, do me a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're one of the people that are on YouTube and you're already subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, go in there and like all of my stuff, leave a ton of comments so YouTube can say, oh my gosh, this guy's freaking awesome. I gotta share it everywhere. All right, do that. Go check us out on Facebook as well, the Real Estate Blitz. You can't mess it up. Go check that stuff out. I actually put up different blogs, different posts, different content that I think is relevant for right now, and along with videos. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate y'all. Have a good
day.
one. We'll talk to you later. Bye.